The Undisputed Wrestling Show, talking to the Blue World Order. Let's go back to Morningstar Will Huckabee.
Yeah, y'all gotta excuse me. I live right outside military base, and they're doing night flights right now. My question is, for all the skits that you gentlemen did you ever actually get any legitimate heat doing any parodies of any of these guys and stuff, especially you, Nova, parodying Hulk Hogan?
No, actually, no. And Stevie, Meanie will tell you too that, like, I remember when Raven told us that the NWO thought this was hilarious and thought it was awesome. My biggest regret in my wrestling career was at the SummerSlam when we wrestled the Mexicools. I mean, that was a regret, wrestling that match, number one. But when I had my Hollywood stuff on, I was walking in the back, and I walked into one of the dressing rooms, and Hogan was there dressed from head to toe with the feathered boa on, the whole deal. There I was with all my stuff on, head to toe, beard painted on, and he looked right at me and said, "Good look, brother." And I regret to this day that I didn't say, "Hey, can I snap a picture with you?" I mean, of course, I thought I would have had heat in 22 different circles, and people, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did." Who knows? You get heat for looking at somebody the wrong way. But right. I wish, looking back then, knowing what I know now, nothing would have stopped me from saying, "Hey, Hulk, can I snap a picture with you for a minute?" But all the guys that we ever did parodies on, they knew that we were getting them over too. So it wasn't, we never did it distastefully. So I think the guys would agree with that.
As recently as 3 weeks ago, a buddy of mine did an interview with Hulk Hogan and asked him what he thought of the bWo, and he said on the air he loved it. So, these guys don't know what the deal is. They know what our deal is. These guys were watching ECW just as much as anybody else. So, they knew it was the tip of the hat. And I don't think I've never met anybody who's had a problem with it.
Let me ask Nova a question real quick. So, comparatively speaking, what do you think would be one of your most memorable moments? Meeting Hulk Hogan when you're in the complete Hollywood gear, or being in the same ring as Juventud Guerrera?
Especially when we were trying to go home, even though I like the juicy cracks me up, trying to go home on that match and finish it, but not being allowed to, and dragging it out for like another 4 minutes, and having Dean Malenko yell at us in the back and us having to explain that it wasn't our fault. I'm going to rank Hogan 1 and that incident as 1B.
This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. The Blue World, say that twice fast. The Blue World Order is with us, and Zane Paisley, you got the mic.
Well, speaking of Hoovy, he is going to be at Heroes and Legends 4 in Fort Wayne, Indiana on September 13th at the Fort Wayne Fun Dome. You can get more information on that at www.heroesandlegendswrestling.com. Nova, was it confusing at all being both Simon Dean and Nova kind of at the same time in WWE?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I still think, I asked somebody about a couple months ago, and they asked me what I thought. I think I'm one of the only guys that ever did that. Like, I know Foley had the 3 Faces of Foley, and like back in the day, Brian Pillman was the Yellow Dog and stuff, but I was 2 totally different characters. Like, I wasn't supposed to be the same guy. So I would go out as Hollywood Nova on Velocity or whatever it was, and then come back as Simon on SmackDown, or, do Simon on Velocity, then bWo on SmackDown, and they were 2 totally different people. Like, it wasn't supposed to be the same guy. So that was kind of a cool little thing. I thought that was neat. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass getting switched out of one outfit to the other and washing my face with a beard and all that kind of stuff. But, whenever you can get on the show more than once to do anything, it's kind of cool. So the fact that I was out there with my boys and we were having fun, we were laughing all the way. Like, the fact that we were doing bWo and WWE was insane. I think that could have went a lot better. I thought it debuted like a bomb a little bit, and I thought we could have had a lot more legs. We got one of the biggest reactions at the original One Night Stand, which I thought was awesome. And it just shows you the longevity of what we did.
Well, one of the things I wish we had done is Nova has a twin brother, and I wish we could have brought him in to be the Nova character, and Simon Dean would have tried to get me on the Simon system.
Oh, that was fantastic.
I thought doing Blue County Choppers was one of the best things we ever did as the bWo. And it was a DVD extra, and a lot of people never even saw that. I mean, that's what was the heart of the bWo was. Not going out there and trying to wrestle like amazing 6-man matches and this and that and all that. They just, I don't know, they kind of missed the mark a little bit. I don't think Vince got it at all. I don't think he absolutely had no idea what the hell we were supposed to be. And
Well,
that's why I don't think it continued. But
is that because it wasn't a Vince creation, so he didn't really care about it?
I don't think he knew what it was. I mean, period. I don't think it has his creation or not. I just don't think he knew what it was. I mean, we knew what Dave Lagana knew what it was, and he was pumped up to get to be part of it, and we were doing it, and we were having fun with it. But I just don't think Vince knew what it was. I don't. Sometimes they bring something back just to try to kill. I don't know, man. It's just you can't kill it. It's gonna live forever. So
to echo what Nova was saying, there's the same thing goes for when me and Stevie did the Blonde Bitch Project, which was a parody of the Blair Witch Project, and it was set to air on the first ever SmackDown. And USA Today ran a story about the phenomenon that was the Blair Witch Project. And as it was explained to me by Ed Ferrara and Vince Russo, Vince McMahon read the article and said, well, what's this Blair Witch? I don't get it. What is it? Well, and why is it airing on my TV? And the reason why the Blonde Bitch Project never aired is because Vince didn't see the correlation between a parody of the movie, which was the hottest thing at the time, and what we were about to put on the first ever SmackDown, and that's why it got canned. So.
Well, you're talking about a guy who doesn't watch movies, doesn't watch sports. He didn't know what Scarface was when Scott Hall tried to explain the Razor Ramon character. So that's and the guy, it's a double-edged sword. He's completely engulfed in 24/7 in WWE, WWF at the time, wrestling, trying to promote wrestling. Probably doesn't have much time in the day to sit down for 2.5 hours and watch Scarface or watch the Blair Witch Project or anything else. So it's kind of like he has to rely on other people too. And sometimes the people he has on that creative team are not the most in touch and kind of like with the cool or, what's that saying? The criticism was going from bookers to writers was, to be a booker, you had to have sex and you've had to have been in a fight in your life. And it looked like some of the writers hadn't been in either. So that was, but that's the way the older generation talked about it, at least the people I ran into. You had to go off a life experience in order to book some of these angles.
The Blue World Order is on the Undisputed Wrestling Show. Zane and I had the great pleasure back in the 90s. Was it the 90s, Zane, or did it kick in? No, it had to have been the 90s. When ECW rolled through Indianapolis, we got to see the great event where Taz from WWF took out Mike Awesome from WCW. ECW had all that legendary stuff. When I was there at the card, I had to rush straight from work. I had my shirt and tie on. I remember Tommy Dreamer just giving me royal hell for wearing a shirt and tie to an ECW event. Well, the cool thing, I guess, about the bWo, and I keep thinking about is, you're one of the few factions, I guess, if you will, that has transcended one particular federation. I mean, you've been in ECW, you've been in WWE, you've been in TNA. I can't think of another faction that's gone in three different federations. What do you think, Stevie?
Could you repeat that? You broke up a little bit. I'm sorry.
That's all right, brother. I was thinking, how many factions have managed to cross over into 3 different promotions?
That's true. One of the things I'm personally proud of is that I've had some iteration, if not the name Stevie Richards, throughout my whole career in all those companies, which is almost unheard of in the day of being repackaged multiple times. And I think the bWo has the same thing. They pretty much, like Meanie and Nova said, they pretty much didn't know what to do with it, so they kind of let us do what we could with it because they just didn't care or didn't get it. So, and that's another thing too, comedy in the way that's done, not in a way where you're looking around to see if anybody sees you take a funny bump. We were just naturally had that chemistry and were funny with each other in a spontaneous way where you didn't have to hand us a script. That's how I don't think that the modern day WWE with the last run of the bWo knew how to handle us. I don't think TNA even knew that they could have utilized us for a good amount of time as a comedy act to break up all the seriousness and all the misery that most of the wrestlers exhibited. So I think the bWo, that's why we went across different companies, was because we had the formula and they couldn't duplicate it. So when we got together, there was nothing that could replace it.
Lumini, what do you think about your time in TNA?
Well, I blinked, so I missed it. But I was on the fourth ever show. When it first started, and I guess they were trying to find their way. And I found every excuse on why they not to bring me back and stuff like that. But I didn't do the DW pay-per-view version of that. I was on. I did a pre-tape, but they couldn't find it to fix my plane ticket, so I didn't make that pay-per-view. So, but to speak to what Stevie says, I mean, it's definitely awe-inspiring that we've had a chance to work in three. We do stuff in three different companies and as ourselves. Still keep our names, which is like exactly what Stevie said. It's unheard of in this day and age. Because everybody wants to own their own characters, and we own our own characters. So I think it speaks volumes again to our chemistry. It speaks volumes to our bond. The three of us have a bond, and we have our history of cement and stone. It's something that can't be taken away from us.
We talked about the three promotions you guys have been involved in. Nova, you and Mimi have even been overseas in Britain wrestling together, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did that that was a lot of fun. We did that a couple of years back. That was an ECW reunion show. Scorpio was there, Cash, Nunzio. I went because I knew the kid that was promoting it, Danny. He was a nice guy. I knew Meanie was going to go. So let me go get out for a couple days, and we went over to England, had fun. One of the matches I remember being really good. The other match I didn't like. I thought the guys weren't that good. I thought they had bad attitudes, and they were just lame. But it was a free trip to England. We had fun. I mean, that's another thing too, man. I mean, this group, the three of us. Again, it's like almost 20 years later, and we're still talking about it. People today in wrestling, like they're watching wrestling now and watching different things on TV. I mean, I like the guys. I think they're good. But if you tell me that there's going to be a Shield reunion on an independent show 20 years from now, I'm going to tell you you're completely freaking crazy. It's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to see these legendary or, memorable groups that people are going to talk about years and years from now because that investment in that group isn't there initially. It's almost like, let's see how fast we can put something together to get rid of it just to get these guys on their own. And we never looked at it like that. We're like, look, this is the spot we're given. We're going to make the best we can out of it. And when we do independent shows, and me and Meanie did PWS back in June, and we got one of the biggest reactions of the night. And we were in a pre-show match and came out in this 4-way or 5-way tag team thing, and we got a standing ovation when we came out for 1,500 people because they know they're not going to see that stuff again, ever. So that's why I think it's memorable, too.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, the Undisputed Wrestling Show will be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We're going to meet you guys personally. I want to thank all three of you gentlemen for taking time out of your schedules to join us tonight. Sure. And the offer stands. We'd love to have all three of you on individually because we could talk about a lot of different things other than, obviously, BW.
Hey, Rick, we've got a caller calling in who says he wants to address his opponents at the upcoming Heroes and Legends 4 event.
Well, what's going on here? Now, come on now. Troy Miller, what do you want?
Ha ha ha! What's happening, fellas?
Hey, what's up,
man?
The top Troy Miller, you've got a match with Jake Oman, Scotty Young, and yourself against the Blue World Order in Fort Wayne, Indiana, on Saturday, September 13th at the Fun Dome in Fort Wayne. Why are you interrupting the bWo?
I've been elected captain of our team. I'm teaming up with the Heroes and Legends Tag Team Champions, of course. And yes, we are taking on the Blue World Order. I've been listening to what they had to say tonight. Three great individuals, but they are past their prime. ECW,
I love it. Keep going.
ECW is more of a novelty act these days. They keep trying to recreate the magic, but it's just not happening. Heroes and Legends is where it's at today, and we're three young, hungry guys, and we're gonna show you what the stars of today have to offer.
Can I handle this, guys? Is it okay?
All yours. All yours.
You're broken. You old
first,
broken
let
down
me ask you
wrestler.
a question. Number one, very cute, saying "I'll show you" and saying all the other different things. But I just want to ask you a question. How old are you?
I am 40 years old. I am the senior member of the team.
You're 40 years old.
That is correct.
Okay, so what I would like to do first, and I tell you, it's sort of a hobby of mine, and Nova and Meanie know where I'm going. I take great pride in the fact that I try to keep myself in the best shape I can, and I sort of have a reputation, especially with the younger guys in the wrestling business who think that I might just be a novelty act or past my prime, or the neck injuries and all this stuff might have slowed me down. And I take great pride in making them puke in the ring. So I take pity upon you, since you're an old man like me, being 42, 43 years old myself. Who's the youngest member of your team that I can embarrass on the 13th? Because I'll spare you the embarrassment, since you've already embarrassed yourself by making an ass out of yourself on the show. But I really want to know, because it'll give me another couple weeks.
I would say the youngest member of our team is Scotty Young.
Scotty Young. Well, that's a good name. Well, how old is he?
How old is he? How old is Scotty Young?
This is your partner. You don't even know how old he is?
Come on,
You're
dropped.
He hung up. Okay, well, listen, here's the deal.
He'll listen to this. Keep going, Stevie. He'll listen.
I would love to make this.
Troy's back. Troy, how old is Scotty Young?
Wait a minute. Usually these matches are only 10, 20-minute time limits, right, Nova? Is there any way we can extend this? Can we extend this to maybe a 2-hour time limit? Because I'd like to go Broadway with these kids.
For a 40-year veteran? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't remember his name from 5 minutes ago, let alone remember 20 years ago.
I thought it was I thought Shane Douglas was calling it. I thought it was Troy Martin. It turns out that they're both full of about the same shit. Him and Shane Douglas are both the bigger bullshitters than anybody I've ever met.
Well, see, that's a funny thing, because in the last Heroes and Legends, I took on Shane Douglas, and I took the title, the franchise, from the man Shane Douglas. So
yeah, but you were moving. But listen, dude, you were moving at about a snail's pace, which is probably your pace and Shane's pace. I've had the privilege of blowing up people like Batista, Randy Orton, Booker T, CM Punk, and making them beg for me to go home. So
that pales in comparison to the 13th, Stevie.
I know. But, I'm sure you had a nice little match with Shane Douglas, but that's fine. We have two other guys.
You had your one match a year.
By the way, Meanie will take his 350 pounds and lean on you and show you how he mat wrestles at the Monster Factory. Nova will just make you trip over your own feet, which you probably do anyway on your own. And then, I don't know. I would just say watch the match, because I'm interested to be there. So I'm sure some people are interested to see it. I really got to thank you, because you know what I'm going to do right now? What time is it? It's about
a DDP yoga session.
It's time to go to the gym, guys. I'm sorry. I got to go. I had that extra motive. Thank you so much, Troy Martin. I appreciate it.
Troy basically. Troy, I'll give you a hint. Troy, I'll give you a hint. I'm probably going to be the weak link of the team, since Stevie and me don't wrestle full time anymore. But it would be in the weak link of the team. I'm the one though that will still bench press 325, and I'm a 10-year black belt of Krav Maga. So basically, I can end a fake wrestling match almost whenever I want.
But I don't want you to end it, Nova. Yeah. I don't want this match to end. I want it to keep going.
No, we're going to have
fun.
On. Yeah.
Okay.
And Stevie's going to blow up Scott Young and the other guys, and hopefully,
Jake Oman, he's huge.
What's his name? Troy what?
Oman.
Who's the 40-year guy? Who's the 40-year-old guy?
That's Top Rope Troy Miller.
Oh, top rope. Now we got to worry about the top rope.
Well,
I feel sorry for the top
come one, come all. It'll be a lot of fun that day. It's for a good cause. We've all known Jason for a long time. We're really excited to do the show. And, with Stevie having to get out to the gym now and Meanie's got to go hang out with Rodman at the Monster Factory, we're going to wrap this up.
Guys, I'm looking forward to it.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. I thank each one of you for joining us. And we'll see
man,
you
I needed that. I needed that at the end. That's all the motivation I needed.
Hey,
you broken down bastard.
We look forward to seeing you on the 13th.
All right,
later,
take care,
guys.
Take care, guys. Thanks.
Take care, guys. Be safe.
All right, the Blue World Order has left the building, and Top Rope Troy Miller is still with us. Man, they owned you, Troy.
I mean, you know what? I'll let them shine now because on the 13th, we're going to be doing the shining that night.
Troy, you've got a lot of exciting, cool things that have happened in your life. Tell us a little bit about your youngin' that's come along.
Oh, yeah. Me and my wife, we had a child about 6 weeks ago. His name is Riley Phillip. He is a future heavyweight champion in his own right. We just got to get him on a schedule because he likes to scream a lot here lately.
So I've heard. So we've got Jake over in London right now. Scotty's working tonight, and you have to defend yourself against the bWo by yourself. That didn't seem like a fair fight, Troy.
Well, I like I said, I'll let them get their moment today. You know, on the 13th, I'll have my guys with me, and you know what? We're gonna bring it. We're gonna lay it on the line. We're gonna leave it all in the ring. We're gonna throw it out on the table.